Good evening, ladies and gentlemen from across the province joining us online via Facebook Live. Thank you all for attending. My name is Tom Williamson, and I am the moderator for tonight's Meet the Candidates Forum. This event is the final of the 4 events held via Zoom and streamed to the public via Facebook Live. Last night, we heard from candidates in the Conception Bay East, Bell Island District, and the Topsail Paradise District. Tonight at 6:30, we heard from candidates from the electoral district of Conception Bay South, and now we will be hearing from the candidates from Harbour Main District. Each forum will have sign language interpretation. It will also be recorded and will be made available to be viewed after the event. Our democracy and democratic institutions are not to be taken for granted, and the right to hold free and fair elections is among our most valuable rights. This provincial election in Newfoundland and Labrador is being held during a pandemic and during winter. That can create special challenges for candidates and voters to communicate with one another, and the 3 sponsors of this event, the Conception Bay Area Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club of the Avalon Northeast, and Manuels River are very pleased to be able to provide this safe opportunity for candidates to communicate directly with the voters of these districts and to help voters get the information they need as they decide who to vote for in their district. A special thanks to each of the candidates who have agreed to participate in this special Meet the Candidates Forum. They are joining me virtually on Zoom while all of you watch on Facebook Live. Let me introduce you to the candidates in alphabetical order. Mr. Tony Chadwick of the NDP will be joining us via telephone. Mr. George Murphy of the Liberal Party and Ms. Helen Conway-Ottenheimer of the PC Party. Before I explain the rules of tonight's event, I want to invite the representatives of the sponsors of this event to say a few words. I'd first like to ask Janet Rumsey, the Executive Director of Manuels River, to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Janet, Executive Director of Manuels River. Manuels River is a world-class nature-based tourism attraction in the town of Conception Bay South. It's a place to discover the river, the local wildlife, our beautiful trail system, and new experiences. Manuels River is staffed year-round, and we are a center for discovery, offering exhibits that describe the culture, geology, paleontology, and ecology of the river valley, complemented by a theater and teaching facilities. Our gift shop, cafe, and multi-purpose meeting facilities are here to make the center an important community gathering place. We offer educational and public programs for all ages, as well as community events. All of our event details are all available on our website for manuelsriver.ca. And as a charity, we also offer memberships for our organization. We are very proud to co-sponsor this candidate event as a service to our community this evening, and we want to thank everyone for participating and joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. I'd also like to ask Don Sword, a Rotary member, to say a few words.
Thanks, Tom. Yes, my name is Don Sword, and this event is proudly co-sponsored by the Rotary Club of Avalon Northeast, which is part of Rotary International, a worldwide service organization founded in 1905. Rotary's motto is service above self, and our club has been proudly serving the CBS and Paradise area for over 30 years. There are about 30 women and men in our Rotary group, and while we have been involved in dozens of service projects, we have been internationally recognized for 3 major projects: the Topsail Beach Rotary Park, the Rotary Paradise Youth and Community Center, and the Manuels River Hibernia Interpretation Center, where our club meets when we hold our in-person meetings. Despite the pandemic, our Rotary group has been able to adapt and has continued to meet regularly via Zoom and in person where possible, to continue to support causes like the Food Bank and the CBS Community Gardens, and to continue to add new members. If you're interested in helping to serve others in an atmosphere of both fun and fellowship, you should consider joining the Rotary Club of Avalon Northeast. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. So as I'm a director of the Conception Bay Area Chamber of Commerce, I will provide a few words about the Chamber. First and foremost, I'd like to say on behalf of the Conception Bay Area Chamber of Commerce that we are delighted to help sponsor this event series. For nearly 40 years, our Chamber has been vocal in strengthening business development, marketing, and professional development opportunities, as well as influencing policy decisions and advocating on behalf of members. We've been as active as ever through the pandemic and quick in connecting entrepreneurs and managers with program supports and information. Chambers are a powerful resource you should have working for your business, and if you aren't already a member, please reach out to our Executive Director, Heather Howard, to learn how we can support you. Heather has been working hard behind the scenes, and we hope this This allows you to learn more about the candidates and their platform. You can also join our Chamber's Atlantic Impressions initiative to give us and government insight into driving better outcomes for your business. We encourage all candidates to get out and talk to entrepreneurs and hear their struggles and work collaboratively through economic recovery. Chambers work closely with elected officials, and while it's not the in-person event we would like to be hosting, we'll get back to those soon. So thanks to all those watching and to the candidates for putting their names forward to represent their district. Stay connected with our chamber, and we wish the best of luck to all candidates. Now for tonight's rules. Tonight's Meet the Candidates forum is not a debate. There will be no heckling, crosstalk, or formal rebuttals. We will ask each candidate to be muted while I or other candidates speak. The format of tonight's forum and the content of the questions were set by the three sponsor organizations without any input from the candidates or political parties. The candidates were all advised of the sponsor's choice of format, and each candidate was provided with the questions in advance. There will be a 5-minute opening statement by each candidate, followed by 2 minutes to answer each of the three questions on specific issues, and the forum will end with 3 minutes each to provide a closing statement. The order of speaking for the opening statements was determined by a draw held before we went live on Facebook. I will rotate the order of speaking throughout for fairness. I will be the timekeeper, and I will hold the candidates to their time limits within reason. It is in my discretion. I may allow a candidate to end a sentence or thought rather than cutting them off unreasonably. I will hold my hand up during the final 30 seconds to let the speaker know that their time is almost up. But before the candidates begin the opening statements, I want to thank each of the candidates for attending, and most importantly, thank them for putting their names forward to serve you, the voters, in this election. So let's get started. You each have 5 minutes for your opening statement. You may speak on any topic you wish, but this is intended to be your opportunity to introduce yourself, your party, and your leader to explain what you see as the key issues and challenges facing our province and your district, and to begin to answer the question, why should I vote for you and your party? At the draw held previously, it was determined that Ms. Conway-Ottenheimer will speak first, Mr. Murphy will speak second, and Mr. Chadwick will speak in the last position. Ms. Conway-Ottenheimer, please unmute yourself and you may begin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, first of all, to the organizers of this Candidates Forum, the Rotary Club of Avalon Northeast, the Conception Bay Area Chamber of Commerce, and Manuels River. And as was stated, this, I think, serves a very important function for many reasons. First of all, it gives the candidates from all of the political parties an opportunity to present our platforms, our views, and I think an important piece is that you get to see and hear from the three candidates, so that will hopefully better inform you, the voter, on election day. I guess, first of all, I'd like to say that some of our best lessons, perhaps, that are learned in any election campaign come from, speaking with our constituents directly. For me, for example, in the past, I think it's 18 days, we have, I believe, 11 days left, or approximately. I've spoken to many constituents going door to door knocking, as well by telephone and through correspondence, through email and text messages, and Facebook Messenger, and so on. But this is a unique opportunity for me. I have never actually participated in a forum like this, at least not in the last election, which was my first election. So I think this is also, given the times that we are in, a very useful way to communicate with our constituents. And it's also useful given the fact that I think we're supposed to have some bad weather tonight. So I must say, when I heard that this was going to be changed to a forum by virtual, I was somewhat pleased, because I do live quite some far away from Manuels River out in Marysvale. So I was happy to hear that, given the weather conditions. But again, this is important, a very important thing that the organizers have done, and I really thank them for that, and giving me the opportunity to share some of my views and my position on the important issues that face us. I've been honored to be an MHA since May of 2019 in the district of Harbour Main. And I say that genuinely, that I have been honored. I'm not going to deny that it hasn't been tough at times. I truly enjoy the work, but there have been challenges from time to time. The district is very diverse. It really is. It's composed of some, small rural communities, as well as increasingly growing communities and municipalities, such as, for example, Conception Bay South and Holyrood and Clark's Beach. But we do see, quite a lot of diversity within the communities. And again, with that, I think brings, a diversity of needs as well. And with that, I guess, give an overview of some of the most pressing issues that I have faced, as being the MHA for Harbour Main. When I get calls and emails and visits over the last 21 months in the office of MHA. And that, varied. I would say primarily the three, pressing and most important issues perhaps facing the district of Harbour Main. First of all, I think would be the roads and infrastructure. When we look at the issues of roads, for example, I hear, concerns about the roads. I mean, not daily, but, pretty much every couple of days over the last 21 months. So we have some serious issues that we have to deal with respect to roads. Seniors, another very important issue, and the lack of adequate services for seniors, and of course, jobs. The lack of employment for our skilled tradespeople. So those would be perhaps some of the primary issues that we face so far that I feel that are really important to address in the district of Harbour Main. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, you are next. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and you may begin.
There you go. I guess everybody can hear me. There you go. Thank you, and good evening to our viewers and listeners out there this evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and albeit at a bit of a rush time, even out there on the campaign trail, and even getting back to the house here to join the Zoom call was a little bit of a treat. But again, we're all safe. We're all inside, and we're doing this by Zoom tonight, which is a little bit of a different medium, I guess, but one that's well used in these times. I'm immensely pleased to be here tonight. To introduce myself, for those who don't know me, my name is George Murphy, Liberal candidate here in Harbour Main, and it's been a real pleasure getting around to meet everybody here so far and talk about their issues and concerns. Primary concerns that I've run into, of course, I have seen issues of the roads, and being the purveyor many years ago of the 5-year roads plan through a private member's motion, I know that the government's intent is to try to keep up roads in a fairly sustainable manner and to revisit roads every 5 years. There is no doubt that Route 60 has to be a priority. The good road to any economy has to be paved, in my feelings. The second biggest concern that I've run into is also, in some cases that I've seen so far, I know that there are poverty issues in this particular district. I've seen poverty, and I don't know what has been done to lift people out of poverty. So I know that, if you're going to have a good operating economy, you've got to be able to capture everybody in that, and you've got to be able to lift everybody at the same time. So I look at this as an opportunity to lift everybody at the same time and have them join in and be able to participate and not feel like that they're being left out of anything. So I hold that as a chief concern. Next to seniors, of course, and we've all dealt with seniors. Everybody knows me from my oil and gas issues. They know me about my pricing issues, consumer issues. They've known me as regards to fighting for cheaper electricity rates, and that happened last July when everybody saw that rebate on their electricity, when I saw the unfairness of Nalcor quoting $106 a barrel. So I challenged that, brought it to government that I didn't have any numbers past $51 a barrel, and rates were rolled back in the form of a one-time rebate. So we have our small victories too for consumers in regards to watching people's pocketbooks out there too. And I take that as a chief responsibility. And I've done that on a consumer basis for everybody out there now for the past 25 years, even before fuel price regulation even hit in this province. So I've done that. I know exactly where everybody comes from. Having been on a low income level myself many years ago, having worked my way up, I know exactly what it is to be a blue collar worker out there and to have bills to pay and have to keep kids fed, that sort of thing. So I understand people's personal economies out there, and I seek to make that better for the district of Harbour Main. And I relish in the thought of being able to lift everybody in that district. Another issue that I see out there, of course, is economic cooperation, municipal cooperation. We've seen examples now happening in the district when it comes to the sharing of services. I'd like to see that continue and help lift the district. And again, no one town can make it all alone these days. Some are doing very, very well. Others need that hand up. And I'm looking to find that common ground between the 14, 15 communities in the district and help raise all of them too at the same time so that it becomes a great place to raise a family. So those are some of the chief concerns. I'm sure that there are others that we'll hear about tonight, but those are some of the chief ones that I'm hearing on my end.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Chadwick, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and you can begin.
Good evening. My name is Tony Chadwick, and I'm your NDP candidate for Harbour Main District. I have lived in Newfoundland since the summer of 1967, when I immigrated to take up a position teaching French at Memorial University, retiring at the rank of full professor in 2004 after 37 years of service. I've been involved in the St. John's community in various ways, in amateur theatre as actor and director, in choral singing, as a board member for the Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra, the Newfoundland Symphony Youth Orchestra, the Philharmonic Choir, and most recently as a board member in Gower Street United Church. I have 3 daughters, all born here, but sadly unable to find work in this province. My first marriage lasted 28 years. My second marriage is still going strong after 23. Politically, I have been involved with the NDP since Tom Mayo's by-election campaign against John Crosbie in 1972, and more recently with Lorraine Michaels' by-election victory in 2006 and subsequent general elections until she retired. I now serve on Alison Coffin's District Association in St. John's East, Kiddie-Biddy. At the university, I was involved in the campaign to unionize faculty and librarians and helped organize Mumford's strike in 2000. Alison Coffin, leader of the province's New Democratic Party, has demonstrated during the recent minority government that there is a different way of doing politics. Her focus then and now is on developing policies that will benefit you if you do not have sufficient means to live comfortably and with dignity. If you are employed, then the very minimum you should be paid is $15 an hour, with enough hours to bring you above the poverty line. Currently, that is not the case. 60,000 people, the majority of them women, are precariously employed or underemployed. If you are in that group, the stress you endure is enormous. Who will mind the children? Who will care for aging parents? Where will the next meal come from? Will there be enough money to pay the rent, heat the home? And if you're not in that group, how do you find the extra resources to help them out? Yes, our province is facing financial challenges. We have been for years. But successive Liberal and Conservative governments have not made things better for everyday people. In fact, they have made things worse. Do you remember the Liberal government budget, the cuts to government services, the costly levy, and the attempt to close half of the public libraries? At the same time, executives at Nalcor got bonuses on top of their fat salaries as a reward for mismanaging the Muskrat Falls project. In Allison, we have a leader who knows how to listen. But in contrast with the leaders of the Liberal and Conservative parties who came from old money families and whose fathers have had prominent political careers, Allison was born in Cornbrook, raised on the Burin Peninsula, with her family's roots in Jobart's Arm. Since the 1990s, she has worked as an economist and taught at Memorial. She understands the challenges faced by everyday people, and she will fight for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll be moving on to the questions that were provided to each candidate in advance of this. So each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the question. The order will be Mr. Murphy, Mr. Chadwick, and then Ms. Conway-Ottenheimer. I will read the question at the beginning, and all of you can follow along afterwards with your responses. So the question is, how will you, as the MHA for your district and as a representative of your political party, work with your local government, local businesses, and community groups to grow the local economy and improve the communities within your district? Mr. Murphy, you can go ahead and unmute your line.
Thank you very much. And I think that this is a unique opportunity to find common ground. The first thing that you have to do is find common ground between communities if you are to join in anything that is going to be major infrastructure. And that includes even for water and sewer work. That includes any wharfing projects, for example, that you want to do in various communities. You're still going to need cooperation between departments, and I'm ready to do that. The second big thing I think that you have to do is make sure that there's good access to education and lift people up and improve people's education too at the same time. You still have to lift people from poverty, of course. The third thing I think that you have to do is recognize the opportunities that are already lying there within your district. For example, COVID gives us a unique opportunity for the possibility. We know, for example, I've run into a lot of federal workers that are working from home. This is a unique opportunity, for example, for development, further development in the tech sector to create employment in some remote communities that we have around this province, and not only in our own district. So we have to recognize the opportunities that can be created by home-based employment as well. And I think that those are going to be important building blocks. And we know, of course, in my conversations with some people that I've been having, some of these federal workers, for example, the opportunity to actually put away money and create further opportunities for themselves has been enhanced. So I think that this has been overlooked. I don't think that this has been brought up. And I think, again, it provides a brilliant opportunity to actually help expand the province's economy by having home-based opportunities as well.
Thank you. Mr. Chadwick, you are next. You can go ahead and unmute your line.
The fishery. In many ways, it's the forgotten industry that used to employ thousands. Did you know that in 2014, a report from the Fisheries Community Council on the fishery and its future was presented to the Liberal government? Not one single meeting ever took place. The Bull government completely ignored it. It is a comprehensive and detailed report that highlights the lack of cooperation between the federal and provincial governments, the secrecy which shrouds decision-making in that sector, to privatize what is in fact a common public resource, and the lack of effort to prevent foreign overfishing. Although this matter is a province-wide concern, a revitalized sustainable fishery will benefit all regions of the province, including Harbour Main. The NDP definitely supports the Buy Local, Grow Local, Save Local program being run by the Conception Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. We agree that buying local is one of the best ways to grow our local economy and save our communities. We recognize that when we support our local businesses, we all benefit. The NDP has always believed in investing in our people, whether that be through education, through healthcare, or through local business. You can see that in our commitment to eliminate the small business tax, to balance our pledge to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It is why the NDP has always supported the idea of local cooperatives as a business model that create healthy and growing communities. Many of the members of the Chamber are cooperatives, such as the Newfoundland and Labrador Credit Union and the cooperators. And I think there's much more that could be said on the question of the economy, but in 2 minutes, that's the best I can do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Conway-Ottenheimer, you can go ahead and unmute your line.
I think that when we look at economic recovery, I think one of the key components of economic recovery involves jobs and growth. And I think when we look at economic recovery, the PC party has a plan to bring back jobs to the province. We need to bring back jobs so that every Newfoundlander and Labradorian who wants to work can find a well-paying job in their field. With respect to the Harbour Main district, our district here in Harbour Main has perhaps the highest percentage of tradespeople working in the oil and gas industry. Our government will require a local benefits policy when public funds are spent on infrastructure. Why are we proposing that? And why do we believe that's so important? Is because to ensure Newfoundlanders and Labradorians get the maximum benefit and the jobs. Our government will use our leverage to ensure underrepresented groups like women, for example, in the trades, get a percentage of work on public infrastructure projects. So we need to be the principal beneficiaries of all our province's resources. We are committed to that. We have an abundance of natural resources, and I hear it when I stop at doors consistently in the district of Harbour Main, that we are not maximizing our the benefits of our natural resources. It's giveaways. We have to stop that because we are not benefiting. So I think that is important. It's as well, we have to review the taxes and fees which the province collects. We have to value the experiences of our frontline workers. We have to involve and engage them and collaborate with them. I think that's also a very important key aspect of economic recovery for our province. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now be moving on to the second question. So the second question is, what do you believe are the biggest issues and challenges for your district regarding the provincial health system and the COVID-19 pandemic? And how will you, as the MHA for your district and as a representative of your political party, work to address these issues and challenges? You will have 2 minutes once again, and we will start with Mr. Chadwick.
Thank you. Income is one of the social determinants of health. Another is access to healthcare. You will have heard of the NDP plan to restore funding for dental care for seniors, a program that was cut by the Liberal government. General health is affected if oral hygiene is neglected. Regular checkups, dentures if required, all help to keep our seniors in good health and out of hospital. The second part involves training and hiring more nurses, nurse practitioners, LPNs, and personal care attendants, the latter being crucial to enhance the home care program that will keep our seniors in their own home. However, one major gap is the low level of help in the area of mental health, a gap that has become a source of frustration, even despair, during the recent pandemic. Wait times for a first appointment can be as long as 2 years, with follow-up appointments also taking many months depending on the severity of the case. Recruitment of psychiatrists across Canada is not keeping pace with retirements, so that Newfoundland and Labrador is not alone in facing this situation. There is no quick solution, but I will do my utmost to urge the medical school at Memorial, the Provincial Department of Health, and especially the federal government to address the recruitment problem. In the meantime, communities where there is no physician or insufficient basic medical help should form committees to develop mechanisms and projects to attract and keep such professionals. We are in competition with the rest of North America, so imagination and hard work are required. Financial inducements will not be enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Conway Ottenheimer, you are next. Sorry, we just need you to unmute your line there. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Some of the biggest issues and challenges which are facing us in the health system, and especially in the COVID pandemic era that we're in, involve, first of all, with respect to point of entry testing of all travelers. I think this is something that really needs to be addressed. Our party's platform has been consistent on that. We believe that we need to catch cases sooner to prevent community spread, and we don't understand why we're not doing that. We know that it has been scientifically established. Studies have proven the effectiveness of this. Rotational workers would like to see this being tested sooner and regularly so that they can be with their families. So I think that's really something that's very important. Businesses have been concerned with the impact of the pandemic, of course, and I've heard from many business owners throughout the district who wonder about the restrictions on their enterprises and how we can't try to perhaps, adopt or adapt those to make it more sustainable for businesses to survive. Teachers and early childhood educators, operators are also worried about being exposed, the exposure to the virus for them and their families. The vaccine rollout programs, there are many concerns I've heard about these rollouts. They're not going as smoothly. We need to ensure that we are prioritizing the delivery of vaccines to those who are most vulnerable. I might say that it's important to applaud the Chief Medical Officer of Health and her colleagues at Public Health for their tireless leadership, but I also believe we need to recognize the important role that the people of the province have made with respect to sacrifices and leadership to ensure that we have such low COVID rates in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Murphy, you are next.
Thank you very much. And I think that the best advice that we have been given has been by the Chief Medical Officer of Health and not by Ches Crosby when it comes to point of entry testing. I think that the Chief Medical Officer of Health has already come out and said the basis for not doing point of entry testing was because people had to self-isolate and there was still time for the virus to incubate and to grow even after a point of entry test. So I think it becomes a moot point. I think that again, the Chief Medical Officer of Health has given us the best guidance when it comes to that particular point of contention. As regards to health, I think to Mr. Chadwick's point, I think that it was the Canadian Mental Health Association at a conference last year who said that the plan for mental health and what has been done for mental health in Newfoundland and Labrador is the envy of the rest of the country. And I think that there was a ringing endorsement for that. Of course, there's still some question as regards to access, for example, to mental health in Harbour Main. I don't know of any services next to going to St. John's. So if we're going to look after the people of Harbour Main and the people in the district, anywhere from Anthony's Road, for example, all the ways over to Clark's Beach,